had had a huge background in marketing, which I found out about just kind of through conversation with my cousin. And so then we brought her on as well to kind of help us execute on a lot of these big campaigns. And next thing we were doing, $30,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And it all happened probably within about 6 to 8 months. And we were just way in over our head, but we were figuring it out as we go, like any good entrepreneur, right?
Welcome to the Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help home service pros cut through the noise, sharpen their business tools, and reclaim the profit, freedom, and impact they've been missing. I'm your host, Richard Walsh, Profit Freedom Coach, and I'm here to help you stop grinding and start growing. Let's sharpen the spear. And we are back on STS, Sharpen the Spear podcast, with another incredible guest. I've got Joel Keith with us today. And Joel, no one knows Joel as well as Joel. So Joel, give us the backstory, bring us up to speed, and we're going to tear into an incredible conversation I've been waiting for.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much, Richard. My name is Joel. I'm the CEO and managing partner of a digital marketing agency called ASP. We've been in business for about 4 or 5 years now. I've been with the company for coming up on 3 to 3.5 years. Originally from Florida, moved to Detroit about 11 years ago. Started working for corporate 500 Fortune 500 company, working in the corporate world. Moved my way up in live events, broadcast production, so the audiovisual technician side, project management side. We did a lot of great shows, so really, really small, everything from 5 people in a conference room with, highly sensitive information to 20,000 people packing out Little Caesars Arena in downtown Detroit. I worked with pretty much all the big name Detroit artists like Michael Key, Big Sean, other artists like Alice Cooper, Jack White. So we've had some fun doing that. But in doing that, kind of on the side, I was just in marketing, kind of on my own, freelancing here and there, and picking up and learning. I started a lot of different photo and video production companies with my wife. We started out doing like family photo shoots and weddings and stuff as side hustles, and then moved into doing corporate videos and video production. It started taking off, and then I had a partner that I brought on to start helping me with the advertising side of it, and we started our first marketing agency. We got plugged in with ASP about 3.5 years ago and started working so closely together. We decided, hey, why not make this a single entity instead of two different things? So our agency got acquired by ASP, and then last year I moved into CEO and managing partner, and have been doing that ever since.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's a good road. It's pretty common, Joe, and a lot of people do this, right? They're in corporate, they're working, they got an idea, they start the little side hustle, they kind of play around. It's a hobby, right? And they do a couple of things, and all of a sudden they get paid once and they get the bug. Hey,
Yeah,
this could be profitable, right? Let's do another one and see how much we can get. And you kind of go down that, and it's a fun ride, right? And then you took the next steps. Now you went from Florida to Detroit.
yeah,
That road's
it
usually
was
going the
backwards.
other direction.
Yeah,
So, but hey, opportunity is everywhere. So if it's there,
exactly.
you go there. It's leave the beach and head to the Rust Belt. So here you are. But really awesome though, and I love this. You know, let's talk about something real quick. So you've got your video, your wife and you are doing the video thing. You're doing the video production. You're going to do some ad stuff. That's when you bring on your partner, right?
Yep.
That was the next step. So from there, like, how do you guys connect? And why do you go like, well, marketing? Yeah, because the advertising is kind of marketing, right? You're building a marketing agency, that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
was he bringing that knowledge? Was he well, let me back up one second. So I have a thing about partnerships. You ever hear the saying, the only ship that doesn't sail is a partnership?
Yeah.
So, so it's always, but I warn my clients all the time when they're thinking about that. I said, listen, partnerships can work if the partner that you want to bring on has a very unique skill set, right? They have to have that. It can't be like a money guy. Can't be the money guy. That's not a partner. That's an investor. Very
Right.
different thing. Like,
Right.
you don't want that guy
Exactly.
becoming a partner. You want him to be an investor, right? So I say, like, so it sounds like he had that unique skill set to bring, another level that you guys could run with. Was that the case?
Yeah, so it's funny you bring that up because that's exactly what happened. So, um, like any good entrepreneur, I sold a contract that I didn't know how to fulfill half of. So, when my wife, she went to college for photojournalism. She taught me how to use a camera a long time ago, and so we did the photo and video thing. And like I said, it kind of evolved from this, working with families and wedding photo shoots and video shoots and stuff, and it moved into we had a really high-end clientele with the wedding side. And so all of these people that we were shooting weddings for, they're like, hey, I've got this business. I'm the CEO of this business. I need corporate videos, things like that. So that's kind of how we kind of fell into it.
Awesome.
But my focus from a marketing standpoint was always on the content creation and the distribution through like social media, your brand message videos, your testimonial videos, how it amplifies your brand from a visual impact. And then I started slowly kind of getting in with the distribution side of, okay, how does this work a little bit with paid and stuff? But I never ran the paid ad campaigns, always had someone to help me with that. So the partner that I brought on had his own company, landscape lighting company, had been running ads on Facebook for, the past 8 years or so. So he had all of that knowledge of how to make these local, home service professionals, these local business, how to make those ad campaigns work through his trial and error over the years. So we were working with this kickboxing gym. The owner was fantastic. She was a great person. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna try to sell some marketing services. And this is before I even talked to him about like coming on with the company, doing partnership or
Right.
anything. I literally was like, if I can sell it, then I'll figure it out afterwards. And she signed right there in the pitch meeting with her. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. So here we go. It's just like $1,300 a month. We're gonna create some videos and we're gonna run some meta ads for them to try to drive some leads and traffic to their gym. And then I went up to him afterwards and I said, hey, she just signed this contract. I know you've run ads before. Can I pay you to run the ads? And he's like, well, I'm not going to say no to money. So let's do it. And that's how it started. Like that's how our marketing agency started. And
Awesome.
within a year, we were doing extremely well. I had another, my cousin's wife at the time, she had a huge background in marketing, which I found out about just kind of through conversation with my cousin. And so then we brought her on as well to kind of help us execute on a lot of these big campaigns. And next thing we were doing, $30,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And it all happened probably within about 6 to 8 months. And we were just way in over our head, but we were figuring it out as we go, like any good entrepreneur, right? And
Right.
we made it work and it did extremely well. And then we got connected with, ASP. I'm the creative director at the time. He and I became friends online and we started working on projects together. And then that's when it was like, hey, it just makes way more sense to do like an acquisition. And so that's how it went. But yeah, my original partner at the time, it was absolutely like, hey, I sold this. I don't know how to do it. Can you do it? And he's like, let's make a marketing business. And that's how it worked.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm impressed by your ability to, okay, get this partner you get. Now it's a need thing, right? And that's how we do it. You say yes and you figure it out. I mean,
Yep.
that's just, I don't care what your business is, that's how you operate. Okay. If you are interested in keeping your business, okay, like you're going to get more clients, but we want to make money and do that kind of thing. And that
Yep.
pressure is awesome. It just grows you as an entrepreneur, as a business, person. It really, really stretches you, make you better. But I really love the stages that you've been through, because a lot of people will get stuck and they'll stay here and they'll get really, really good. I'm going to do this. And they're not going to see the ability for others to add value to their company. And it doesn't necessarily mean a partner. You had that first, but then they get ASP, like, and you start connecting there. And to make that jump, because a lot of people, because of their ego, they won't make that merger. They won't do that because they want control and they want to,
Yep.
it's me, I started this and everything else. And so I just want to hit on that a little bit. I don't see that as a regular thing, right? Because a lot of people have their own, as entrepreneurs, we're normally the biggest problem in our business, right? We're,
Yeah.
we're, we're the biggest roadblock,
Right.
and everything. So we like to blame everyone else, but it's pretty much us. So, like I said, I see a lot of guys holding themselves back because they don't have that willingness to at least entertain the idea and see if it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, even now, like with our agency doing as well as we have, yeah, I absolutely am still the biggest roadblock. Um, Yeah, and it's not like a, lack of decision or anything like that. It's, you and I think you see this a lot in the trades too. Because that's my family's background is in that. My dad has been in the trades his entire life. My grandfather was in it as well. So it's been kind of handed down. They're much better at it than I am. My father's a master carpenter. The things he can do with kitchen cabinets blows my mind. But
Yeah.
anyway, you know, you absolutely just have to go out and just make the decision to do something, whether you know how to do it or not. And if you don't know how to do it and you can't figure it out, you find someone that can, and you bring them in. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a partner, but being strategic about who you bring in, I think is absolutely important. Um, you had made mention too earlier that people that just bring money in, they're not partners, they're investors. I think there's different levels of kind of like where you want to go as a business, and that's what you have to figure out, right? You have to figure out, okay, what's my long-term goal? Stop looking just 6 months or 8 months in the future. You really got to think, all right, 10 years from now, where do I want to be? And what does that look like? And whatever that picture is, what roles have to be filled? What people do I need in place? What's the revenue look like? What's the org chart look like? What's the lead generation look like? What's the marketing campaigns look like? And you work your way backwards from there, and then you start trying to find those people that you can bring in to kind of help take you to that next stepping stone.
Yeah, that's great. We call it, I label it exit strategy.
Yep.
Go to the end. How long, how much? How long you want to do this and how much you want for an exit, and then
Yep.
reverse engineer, just like you talked about. Now you know when you're going to hire the first person, second person, third person, right? You can map all this stuff out. There's a lot to it, obviously, but you're doing the right thing, and that's what you have to see. You have to be strategic in your thought, right? A lot
Yeah.
of guys, like you're saying, I deal with all the guys in the trades, right? That's my main niche, and when I'm working with these guys, it's like I was too. My first 20 years, I build great things. That's what I do. No one's better than me. I'm doing this
Yeah.
cool stuff and everything, but I don't, and I also didn't need any help,
Yeah.
which was the big lie I told myself for 20 years until I lost everything, right? If I just would have listened. Okay. So a lot of these guys, again, we're the problem, but we have to understand like we got to get out of the doing, put the literal hammer down, right? And then start working on the business and start to focus
Yep.
like where we're really going. Because, and I usually start with this. I give it, okay, you're the best at what you do. So I'll say, Joel, you're the best at what you do. Guarantee, hands down. I have no argument with that. But there are other people who are probably almost as good as you. Okay. And if
Yeah.
they're on the team, your clients, for one, wouldn't know the difference. And if they're like 5% not as good as you, well, train them up that 5%. Turn
Yeah.
them loose so you could focus on that strategy and that growth, right?
Yeah.
And those acquisitions, as
Yeah.
those mergers, things like that. So it's an important lesson that we repeat often on this podcast, because I think it takes a mindset shift to get into that way of thinking, because it's easy to do what we do when we're good at it. It's no, it's, I this is the negative, it's brain dead stuff for us. I'm naturally great at doing this. I don't toil over it. I just get them go do it. Right. So
Yeah.
why don't I just do that? Because I don't have to think. But yeah, you got
Yeah.
a business to run though. There's a whole nother level on the other side, right? All the stuff that no one
Yeah.
wants to do, right? No entrepreneur wants to do, and that's everything else but do the thing.
Yeah.
So we got to figure out how to manage that, how to delegate, how to build systems, how to build processes, and like you said, find the right people to fit on the team. That's really
Yeah.
the critical element, I think.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know how much of a book reader you are, but
I have
Dan
lots.
Martell,
Yeah.
yeah, Dan Martell has a book Buy Back Your Time,
Mhm.
and that one changed my mindset so much, where it was like, rich people buy time. They buy time by bringing in other people to do tasks that they no longer need to do. And it's so funny because we work from a marketing standpoint. Our main focus for our agency is local businesses and home service professionals.
Mhm.
And really with a focus more so on the home service professionals. We work with pretty much every trade out there, but we find that across all trades that there seems to be specific barriers for like revenue barriers, and there are specific attributes that attribute, things that attribute to those revenue barriers. So like you can go out and you can hustle your way to $300,000 a year pretty easily. It doesn't take a
Yeah.
ton of effort. If you're good at one specific skill, you go out there, you get a couple people referring you, you'll make 300K. You might even do 500 if you got a couple guys on your team. To get to that million, okay, now you need a project manager and you need a team of 2 or 3 guys, right? Depending on your trade. You got a couple trucks, everybody's running out. That 1 to 3 million is you have to become a marketing expert now. Now you have to learn how to work Google ads. You have to learn how to work Facebook ads. You have to learn how to do social media management and, what kind of videos do I need to put out? Like, I don't want to dance on camera, like on TikTok, but like, how do I make the trade stuff look good for people to follow? And then, from 3 to 5 and 5 to 10, it's systems and processes and it's scaling all of your current systems and processes up. So trying to identify like where you're at and then who do you need to bring in for that specifically? Like, when you're at 500 to 700,000 and you're looking to get into ads, you probably don't need to go hire a giant marketing agency.
Yeah.
Hire a smaller guy or find someone to run like one specific thing in marketing. If you're doing 1 million and more, that's the time to start considering, okay, I need an agency to come in, help me strategize, help me build out a full scale campaign, set aside a marketing budget, 7% of your revenue towards marketing or whatever it is, and let's launch this and let's scale up the leads. And when you get 3 to 5, then it's like, okay, maybe I need an in-person, an in-house person, like maybe a fractional CMO to help me get from 5 to 10, and then start building it up that way. But yeah, identifying where you're at, what systems and processes you need to get to that next level is crucial.
Yeah. I want to say it's a complicated thing. Okay. It's a huge umbrella, just the term marketing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's everything. It's a
Yeah.
very wide net, right? And like you said, when you're talking, and I like that, well, we focus on the home services industry, like that's a niche, right? And local. Okay. So like when people are shopping for marketers, and this is my experience, I've been doing it forever, right? And I've failed most of the time. Okay. Okay. So I had to learn the hard way every time. But what happens is you start to go, okay, I need someone who like truly understands what we do as a
Yeah.
business. Now we all think we're special. We're not. Okay. Like plumber's a plumber. You might be you might be a left-handed plumber. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Right. It's just like, but I get it. I thought I was the best water feature builder in the country, except I was, but, you know what I mean? So it's like, but that uniqueness, like me working with the trades guys, right? I know I build things, I do things, I understand very, very intricately what they're going through, what they do, and marketing that ability to target the consumer. And I'll give you a quick example. So one marketing company, they're going to help me with thing. I work with trades and service people. Well, they guess where they want to market on LinkedIn. I'm going LinkedIn. I don't see a lot of plumbers.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn.
Right.
Okay. They're not, they don't, though they're there. They couldn't drum up one lead.
Yeah.
Okay. For 15 grand. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's this stuff, right? It's things like that. You just go,
Yeah.
I mean, they can sell, obviously. They're good at selling me.
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
but they're not getting any leads in the door. Right. So it's really important that people kind of understand, like, that's why you need to know, right? What you
Yeah.
do, because it's not B2B. LinkedIn's B2B. Trades, you're B2C.
Yep.
You're building, someone needs a remodel. Someone wants to build a
Yep.
new house. That's a consumer. That's a customer,
Exactly.
right? And it's a simple thing like that, that's important to understand. When someone's coming in and you want to make, you want to make headway with their marketing.
Yeah.
Like you said it well with they don't want to be dancing on TikTok doing that. How do you take what someone does and present it in a way that just isn't pretty pictures? Right?
Yeah.
Like, why? Oh, you and I can show you 4 different beautiful kitchens by 4 different contractors, and they're all nice.
Yeah.
Who cares? Right? Like,
Yeah.
well, what else? So what you got to go like, what happened? Like, tell me about what happened. Like
Mhm.
from the first call all the way through to that finished project, and you'll hear,
Yeah.
I'll never do it again. Worst experience of my life. Okay. So like you get that right there with this and that, you got all that stuff. So, maybe we should talk about the experience.
Yeah.
This could be not the end product, because everyone
Yep.
gets the good end product. Some just takes twice as long, twice as hard, twice as much. Other people
Yep.
do it on time, on budget. I don't know. So that's just kind of what I see.
Yeah.
I'm sharing a common frustration
Yeah.
with your clients, not yours specifically, but you know what I mean? The trades
Yep.
and service, because we're trying to market a service,
Hmm.
something, and it's challenging. And I love that you've hooked onto that and you've kind of mastered it. That's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, two things to that. One is, one thing that we do. So yes, we do have a background in marketing for trades. So there is an inherent understanding, based on which trade you're in of, kind of who your target demographic is, right? But regardless of whatever trade you're in, you have your demographic specifically that is going to kind of manipulate what that actual avatar looks like. So depending on where you're at, whether it's a rural place, whether it's more urban, whether it's a major city or outside of a major city, competition, other people that are in the trades in your space that are inside of your service area, what are they spending? Like, we do a full comprehensive what we call a TOPA, a total online presence audit, and then we do a full competitor audit and analysis, and to say, like, hey, give me 3 to 5 guys who you compete with right now. You sell roofs, give me 3 different roofers you've lost jobs on. Okay, I'm going to go look at their entire online presence, everything that I can possibly pull up with every single tool that I have available, to figure out what are they doing in marketing that you're not, and then how do we compete with them? What's it going to take? What's it going to cost? And then I can bring the findings back. This is before we even sign a contract.
Right.
Bring the findings back and say, hey, these are your competitors. This is likely what they're spending on ads. This is their, website. This is why it's built out this way. They have all these great things. If you want to compete with them, this is how much it's going to cost an ad spend. This is how much it's going to cost getting backlinks for, search engine optimization. They're doing, AEO or GEO, whatever term you want to use. They're optimizing for LLM search. They're doing all these things. We can do this. We can compete with them, but in order to compete with them, this is how much it's going to cost. Or we could take it in a phase approach. Here's phase one. Let's figure out your foundations. Let's make sure your website looks good and it functions properly, has a good user experience, a good user interface, and then move on. How's your online presence for social media? Do you post consistently, and do you post stuff that's educational and helpful for people? Is it about your process, like you talked about, or are you just doing nothing but selling online on social media? Because nobody's going to follow a plumber that does nothing but sell.
Right.
So you have to take all of that in consideration and then build out an actual strategy that's going to help you to go against your competition in an effective way. Not just effective with the strategy, but also effective cost-wise as well. Because most of the time, unless, I mean, really even 3 to 5 million in revenue a year, most of the people we work with don't have a designated marketing budget.
Right.
It's like, oh, I got here. I spend, $1,000 on meta ads every once in a while. We run it in-house. It's not really effective though. So I don't know if meta ads work. And it's like, okay, well, what's your strategy? What's your targeting? Like there has to be more to it than just like throwing money at a platform and then hoping the leads come in.
Yeah, I would follow that question with a system like that. So you sell your service, right? What's your
Yeah.
close rate? Oh,
Yeah.
it's around 50%. I go, around? You don't know?
Yeah.
Like, so
Yep.
they're not tracking numbers. I
Yeah.
always dive in. I'm like, okay, you have no idea. Or
Yeah.
they tell you they close at 90%. And I just look at them like, really, you want to work for me?
Yeah,
Because I can
exactly.
get someone to close at 90%. Or do you just close 2 jobs a year? I just need to know. So,
Yeah.
it's that kind of and what you do, and I love how your approach, you uncover this stuff, right? Because that's the thing, like you said, demographics. Like, one of the things that I have found working with most companies, they really don't have a solid customer avatar, ICP, ideal client profile. Who
Yep.
specifically are you serving? I can turn businesses around. I can double revenue. I can double profits just by that alone,
Yep.
like in a very short period of time. And they do less jobs and make double the money. And
Yep.
it's amazing, right? But from a marketing standpoint, like if you don't know who that is, that's money down the toilet.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because you're just throwing a wide net and thinking everyone wants you to know. right? So I
Yeah.
think your analysis, Joel, is really cool because it's going to force them into understanding who they serve. Is that with
Yeah.
does that ever become like an exercise you have to take them through?
Yeah, it is. So we actually have a couple tools. So really the first phase, especially with people that have never gone through like an actual marketing program with someone. So that's where I think we're a little bit different. Like when I come in and I'm working with a company, I'm trying to do my best to act as a CFO on their behalf, like
Mhm.
or a CMO, a fractional CMO to them to say like, okay, if this was my company, from a marketing standpoint, what's the information I would need to make good decisions in marketing? And we gather that information first and then present it. Because like you just said, like a lot of people say like, well, I threw $1,000 last month at Meta and I targeted the service area. Okay, but inside of that service area, what is your age targeting? What is your income range? Like, sure, you're targeting people that make less than $40,000 a year, but you have a top tier pricing service. So like, how do you think that like your entry level at 1,500, somebody that's making 40 grand a year is going to be able to afford that? So you just wasted money getting in front of somebody who's never going to
Sure.
buy your product, you know? So absolutely, your ICP is the first thing that you need to establish. But we walk them through this program, and I literally send them a link. They go through and they fill out a huge questionnaire, and it's their company goals, like who they like to target, their service area, like all the ins and outs of their company. And a lot of the times they don't even know how to answer half the questions, which is the first thing. Like, okay, we have to figure this out before we can even establish a strategy.
Right. Exactly.
And then from there, we'll actually build out a deck, and the deck could be anywhere from like 80 to 120 pages, but it's more so a reference guide to say like, okay, every element of marketing is covered inside of this deck. So I can go to that specific chapter, that specific piece when I need to update or change or reference something. So it's not like I'm going to read this all through to you. Because it absolutely has put people to sleep before when I try to read all the way through it. Um, but from there, we use that to build the strategy. So, say again, competitor analysis. This is how they're doing. This is what we want to do. This is our goals. Here's the path to that. Here's how much it's going to cost. Are we ready to spend that money or not? And if not, that's fine. But here's an alternative strategy that we can kind of move into that.
Yeah, I think it's important to see your competitors. Like you can't fear them. You know, you want to keep your enemies close, right?
Hmm.
Like so, but also look at them and go, okay, well, what can we do that's better than what they're doing? What are they doing wrong?
Yeah.
If they're actually taking jobs from you, they're still doing something wrong because they're not taking
Yeah.
all the jobs from you. So like you got to figure that kind of it's a strategy play. Like
Yeah.
what do we do? Because you're watching that. Okay, now you have to look at those two or three competitors who are your closest competitors, and you go, okay, I need to work on differentiation. I don't want to be them because
Right.
then I'm them. I don't want to be them.
Yep.
Okay, if people want them, they'll hire them. So that you have
Right.
to create that. But again, then that ties into your ICP, who we're serving, how we serve them. Right? It really becomes the how that I
Hmm.
have found. It really is what is that about? What is the how? Because everyone, again, end product is end product. Toilet's fixed. Okay.
Yep.
I can use it. All right. But that's not what people complain about. You know,
Right.
they don't rave the toilet's now fixed. They don't get on and give you a 5-star review because they can take a dump. Okay. It's like it's about they showed up on time. He's super clean. He didn't track mud in, very courteous, let us know everything. And that's what they want to know
Yeah.
was the experience. That's what they
Yep.
write a review about. Okay, not the working toilet. That's all I'm saying. So
Yep.
if you're thinking of that from a marketing standpoint, I'm like, you build that. That's what people want to hear because everybody has a construction horror story.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone who's done a remodel or put a roof on whatever it is, especially if it's a little bit older, they've got time in the game. They've done this more than once. This isn't their first rodeo. And man, they are happy to share that horror story. But they're listening for
Exactly.
that. They're
Yeah.
listening for those same things they went. If that's that, it's going to be a hard no. So you got to
Yeah.
understand that. It's cool.
Yeah, and it's not even too like I love what you said about the process and kind of the experience in between. But I find because what happens typically is when we're and this is big right now, especially in HVAC and plumbing, and electricians moving into even roofing, like obviously private equity firms, in the big metro areas coming in, buying up the biggest player,
Yeah.
handing them a check for $12 million, buying out their business, and then they dump, $1 million a month to running out the rest of the competition. So what happens is a lot of the times we get our clients are their companies they're trying to run out, the ones that are doing $1 to $3 million a year in revenue. And it's very difficult when you have a $2,000 ad spend budget going up against someone who's spending $10,000 a week on Google Ads. Um, the differentiator there has to be how do you make yourself stand out against someone who has a great brand and is everywhere? The difference is familiarity, and that's what we found. And so a lot of the companies that we work with, it's about creating a strategy about presenting them as a person, not as a company,
There you
and
go.
can add that connection point that they have with, okay, when I hire this company, I know this person who's the owner. I know her by name. I know her face, or I know his face, or whatever it is. And when people come out, they're people that they've seen on, the social media videos talking about different problems and how to solve them, how to do DIY. When is the right point to do DIY? When should you be calling a technician for a repair, right? If you're placing a filter in your HVAC system, hey, here's a DIY. Here's how you do it yourself. Here's when you should do it, and here's what you should buy. Great. Well, this, a coil cleaning that should probably be done by a professional. Hey, this is when to call us out. This is how much you can expect to pay. This is how quickly we can get to you. And offering that educational value to them. And that in itself allows you to differentiate yourself between the big brands and that connection point when they come to your house, they're already more familiar with you. They already kind of feel like they know you. It's almost like that social media celebrity kind of thing. And then the process and is so much more seamless. The relationship is already kind of pre-built. You foster it, you get the review, and you move on to the next job, but you're more likely to earn kind of that lifetime customer.
Yeah, I was going to say, in that, I always told people as a business owner, okay, regardless of your size, you could be the 500K guy, you could be the 5 million, you could be the 10 million in a community locally, you are in a position of influence. People work for you, you're feeding families, right? You're serving the public and stuff like that. You need to capitalize on that. Okay. And because it matters, right? And you don't just talk about yourself, you talk about the people that work for you and they see them because guess who's really showing up to your house? Okay, it's gonna be these guys are working for it. I can't
Yep.
go to every house, right? So you start
Yep.
to build the team and the community, and you start to build that kind of stuff, right? Whatever that looks like, man. Maybe it's the company picnic. I don't know, whatever. But like you guys are doing stuff like that today, especially. People are looking to separate from those conglomerates, right? The Vanguards and the Black Rocks. These guys coming in buying this stuff. They already own all the houses. Now they're trying to own the companies to put this up in the
Yep.
houses, right? It's kind
Exactly.
of the whole thing, right? So we kind of, and that's okay. But from a local standpoint, like you can dig your heels in, you can be extremely successful. Like you're mentioning, I tell people all the time, you can get to 0 to 1 million by yourself. Just like you're saying, you can hustle, you can bust your hump, you can do that. You're going to work a lot, do it, you'll get there. But like you said, that 1 to 3, that's team stuff. Okay. Even the 0 to 1, you might have 1 or 2 guys with you, right? But we really got to start looking again, the 5 to 10. Okay. That's a whole different animal. Okay. And you're still local. Like
Yep.
$5 to $10 million is not like you're, the biggest. It's I don't mean this negative. I mean like you're still like small.
Yeah.
That you're still small. You'll feel really good. You're making
Yeah.
real money. It's a good place to be. Don't get me wrong, but like, how do you dominate that space?
Yeah.
That's when you market. How do I own that 10 million?
Yeah.
Like that's impenetrable. I can only go up, right? I'm not going to. That's what I think when I think like marketing and stuff like that and building that company. I want a bedrock of just greatness, then build on top of that, and it's just impenetrable. Because our
Yeah.
marketing is so different than the big brand that's everywhere and they do, a gazillion windows or whatever a year. And I don't.
Yeah.
Right. So it's yeah, it's really it's a tricky thing. But I really do appreciate your process because again, my experience with so many different marketers, they don't take any time to do that. Or the worst, they send you all these documents. You spend hours with the one with the LinkedIn thing. I spent like 8 hours filling out their documents because
Ouch.
I know my stuff.
Yeah.
You want detail? I will give you. I'll tell you what they read, how long they sit on the crapper in the morning. I'll tell you everything. Okay, like
Yeah.
I know my clients. So here, how could they possibly go wrong if I give them that?
Yeah.
Not it's like they just got it, crumpled it up, and threw it away,
Yeah.
and just hit AI agent, LinkedIn, all people. I'm like, you guys suck, So I'm like, that was 8 hours,
Yeah.
and this happened with multiple firms. Because I'm like, man, I
Yeah.
teach this stuff. I teach like who you're serving, man. Like I'm really good at it. And they don't look at it. That's the thing. You're like you said, just being willing to read someone 80 or some pages of a deck
Yeah.
and go through that. That's dedication enough. But you're right to pare that down. But I love it. I love the detail and the investment you're making before a contract, even into your potential customers.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be
Yeah.
said.
So my partner and I joke, one of my partners, and I joke all the time that we'd be a lot more well off if we didn't have integrity. Because it could be like every other marketing agency. I would say every other marketing. There are good agencies out there, and I know a lot of good agencies out there. But most agencies, that's what it is. We have one thing that we do, and everybody's going. We're going to shoehorn them into that one thing that we do,
Mhm.
which to an extent, you have to have a process, right? You have to have a system that scales, and that's how you grow as a business. That's any business, regardless of the industry. But for us and I don't know if it's more of a, it's still like kind of a personal connection with small businesses because we're, technically a small business still.
Mhm.
Um, I want to see people win,
Yeah.
I want to see people do really good. Like I've got a client of mine who's a home inspector and he gives me access to a CRM to go in to see how his schedule looks and everything as leads come in, like, okay, what's getting booked and how booked up is he? Do we need to pull back on ad spend? Because, we have essentially the freedom to manage his budget as we see fit. And when I go in and I see, hey, there's been a 30% increase in revenue since last year with another agency, like that feels good to me. Not because that
Yeah.
like my team and I have created this for them, but that he's making that much more money and he's
That's right.
already doing well. So that is like a testament to his work ethic and his team. It's a testament to our work ethic and our team and how well we do and that our system and our process works, and it makes that investment up front worth it. Because and another thing that we do a lot differently than most agencies is when we build stuff for our clients, we build an ad account, we build ad campaigns, we build the creatives and the copy and all that stuff. Our clients own everything. We don't own any of it. So if for whatever reason they decide to not re-up in contract, they keep everything. They keep all the data. They keep all the creatives that we've made. They keep all the access, the owner access to all the platforms. I don't hold anything hostage. Early on, we had a client that was an HVAC company that switched from a really big, well-known agency, and they called me up in a panic one morning. I was working another job at the same time, and he was just like, "Hey, we ended our contract, but apparently they licensed the website theme, so our entire website is down." And I was like, "Oh my God!" So like, I called my web developer and I said, "Hey, I need this. I need a website up in like within the next 48 hours." And we got it done. Within 48 hours, we had rebuilt the
Yeah.
entire website and had it live and ready to go. Now there was obviously some kinks we had to work out and stuff, but they had something that was still customer facing. And I was like, man, I never want any of my clients or past clients to ever go through something like that because I'm not in it to, hey, you're not working with me. I want your business to burn. I'm not that way. None of our team is that way. We want you to absolutely succeed in business.
And that used to be a really common thing. It's not as common as it used to be because now you got Wix and every free website you could but I want to go in and change things. I gotta wait a week. I gotta call you in a week. There's no agility whatsoever with a lot of those
Right.
companies, especially back in the day, right? Like if you're here pre-internet like me, and then you coming through and watch the wild west of websites. That was a wild ride, man. People, and what it is today, and even now it's evolving again. with AI agents and everything else. Like it's fascinating to watch. You know what I mean? But it really has shifted from the people. They don't have the control they used to. Like you said, like, oh, you're going to leave us? Well, we used to do that. It's like CRMs. You get a CRM, you've loaded up 1,000 pictures, right? All these jobs, and you want to change. Oh, you can have the pictures one at a time, one download at a time.
Oh
You
my
can't
goodness.
play. You're like, oh, like you talk about a hostage. You are enslaved to that.
Yeah.
Like I have 1,000, and you need those, all the client, everything, and you wanted to transfer that. Ooh, that's a nightmare, right? So it's like, but I see you, but there's pluses and minuses on both sides. Back in the day, I was slides, like literal transparencies, and we took all our photos on that. Those were the highest grade, right? We did all that. I have thousands of them. I still have them, sheets,
Oh wow.
thousands of pictures. I mean, I built over 1,000 water features. I have more than one picture of each one, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, sculptures, everything else, so you get this collection,
Hmm.
of like just unbelievable, and now what? Well, I need to be digital. So I had my office manager, we had a converter, and you do like 3 slides in the tray, you stick it in, and it takes about a minute for each
Yep.
one. And then it pulls the next one through. I go, that's your job all day, every day. Take all of these slides
For the
and
next
make
six
them
years.
digital.
Yeah.
There'll be a bonus. I'll buy you lunch. But it's like you just do that, and we never got them all, but we got the really really good ones, right? We really went through and like now we digitize them and everything else. So we had to go through that whole process, right? But back in the day too, I want to give a comparison because what you're doing today was not something that was feasible 20 years ago. Okay, what you're able to do from a cost standpoint, equipment, technology, right? Everything you can produce today, 20 years ago, it was so much money. It was cost prohibitive. So you take a trade guy doing 500K, doing a million. Like, we used to say it's 10% of your revenue. That's your marketing budget. That was the general. You said seven, which I always like to hear the number go down. But 10% is like, well, I did a million. That's 100 grand. I'm supposed to spend $100,000 a year on marketing
Yeah.
for what? But back then it was like, here, I got a newspaper ad. I'm on the back of a magazine.
Yep.
I did, and which guys gets you nothing. Now I was in articles. I got written up a lot. I was in magazines, like 4-page articles on me and whatever TV. And you do all this stuff. People are like, wow, you must have got a lot of work from that. And I tell them, yeah, they'd be no. No, I did get a lot of work from that. They go, how can that be? I go, because that's not how it's used. People don't read you an article. Well, I got to call him and do my water feature.
Yep.
When they see your portfolio and they see you've been published and you've been on this and this and this, that's what sells. It's
Yeah.
not the specific article. It's the collection. It's the
Yeah.
authority building. Oh, I'm a best-selling author, and I've been in here, I've been in this, I've been in this, and then when you go present, here's the estimate, here's who I am, here's what we do. You're like, oh wow, I got the
Yeah.
guy, right? So people really don't understand that aspect of it either. From a commitment standpoint, a commitment to marketing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit because most people, and you probably run into this often, is they don't understand the commitment. Like you
Yeah.
mentioned, I spent $1,000 on meta ads, whatever, and then that didn't work.
Yeah.
Only 1,000. You
Yeah.
did it for a month. Okay, well, nothing's going to
Exactly.
work in that time frame, right?
Right.
So let's talk about that a little bit because I want people to hear this from you because it's something that gets kind of glossed over, and then
Yeah.
people get frustrated. And how do you kind of work your way through that?
Yeah. So it's funny you brought up the credibility features of 20 years ago. It's different than now. It's the
Right.
articles and the
Mhm.
magazine's references and the centerfolds or whatever it is for the stories. And I think now it's just been digitized to social media, right? Like that's how people qualify whether or not it's a trustworthy company is how many followers they have on socials. But obviously with that, the biggest lie is that all of those are real people. Most of the influencers or the big companies out there, they buy them. I was talking with an influencer recently, who has an amazing story. Loved what he was doing and the message he had, and he was a very genuine person. And I was like, man, he's got almost 40,000 Instagram followers. Like, why is he contacting me to run his socials? He's already doing well. Why would he pay me to do it? And he's like, oh, I had an agency and they bought about 25 to 30,000 of them. I was like, oh, so you have 2,000 followers. That's what it is. And so like there needs to be that understanding too about how easily it can be manipulated now. But the longevity of the marketing is definitely something that's a little bit more difficult for the trades industry specifically. A lot of people don't know that when you launch a meta ads campaign, it could be 2 weeks before your ad even goes live. There's a learning process, especially if you just stood the ad account up. It's got to go through the background checks and the credibility checks and all that stuff before it even launches your ad. And even still, it's a slow roll out until it can build some momentum and credibility. Even then, you launched one ad with one creative. No, you need to launch 6 or 8 different ads with different copy, different creative, and see which one works, and then start doing A/B testing, breaking off of that, and figuring out the winning formula. Google ads. I mean, we tell clients that like, hey, if you don't have the stomach to do at least 90 days worth of Google ads, don't do it. Because sometimes it can be 45 days before you start seeing good results. Depending on, kind of your niche, your demographic, your competition, all that stuff. Usually we have a really good system based on what we've seen work in the past. It's just kind of manipulating for the geographical area, and we usually get results within 30 days. But there have been times where it's been 60, 65 days before we started seeing positive ROI. So and not even to mention, search engine optimization, right? Search engine optimization for like, you don't even start seeing good results until 8 months in. So you're talking about, oh, I'm paying this guy $1,500 a month or $2,500 a month to do my website and do backlinks and to rewrite pages and everything like that. And I don't get any results for like 8 months from now. Like, that's kind of a hard pill to swallow, because if you get 8 months in and then you're not seeing results, and you're like, oh man, did I just waste all of this money? But
Yeah, it's that long
that's
game,
part
man.
of the game.
It's a long game.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. It's just when we talk about 7 or 10% of your revenue to marketing, that never goes away.
Right.
It's not one time. It's like 1 year I'm going to do. It's like every year. It's like
Yeah.
that's a committed budget. Okay, so now you got a committed budget. That's the easy part. The
Hmm.
hard part is doing everything you just described.
Yeah.
Waiting, the going through, put this stuff out there. Just SEO, big one, that long
Hmm.
game. Okay, you're
Yeah.
not gonna. Oh, I don't. Why don't I have 1,000 people hit my site a day and day 32? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it just doesn't. People don't have the realization with that. And here's a frustration I noticed. Do you guys do SEO for people, or do you have that formed
Hmm.
out? So we get on. I have clients, right? We'll get on with the SEO people. I'm air quoting the SEO people, and then they show you this data. Okay, and this is coming from your consumer side. I'm giving the consumer, and they're showing these impressions and this and this and this. And I'm um, like that's really cool. If I'm a like code geek,
Yeah.
what's making me money?
Exactly.
I think there's only 2 or 3 things you need to show me. You're spending 30 minutes me getting all giggly about this stuff. It has no bearing on my business whatsoever.
Yep.
Okay, so you got to, and I can't believe they hadn't figured this out. There's 200 people on the team.
Yeah.
Okay, on their team. Like I'm like you don't you deal with business owners, right? Who's got time for this? Okay, it's, it's like thinking, hey, look all the likes you got. I can't deposit those in my bank account.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Doesn't pay
cool.
for anything.
I'm looking for ROI. Okay,
Yeah.
green stuff. Okay, not more likes. But you know what I mean. So there's a
Yeah.
frustration on our side, but they're also not communicating properly. Like I think that's the thing on your side that I'm gathering from just talking to you, Joel, that you guys have an ability to communicate what matters.
Yeah.
Okay, to the owner, not
Yep.
to you. There's
Yeah.
all kinds of cool stuff you could say in that 185 page there, but it's not gonna move the client,
Exactly.
and that's what
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah, there's an element of everything that we do, every client that we work with, there's an educational element to it. I will teach you as much as you possibly want to know about marketing. I will be your personal tutor. So if you want to learn the ins and outs and why all of these intricacies are important, I will go through every single detail with you. I have one of my clients, is a great dude, and I used to spend for the first 6, 8 months of our contract, I spent at least an hour to an hour and a half with him 3 to 4 times a week on the phone talking about marketing. And it has paid off so much now that we're, a year and a half into, working with him, that he already understands the marketing stuff. And then he also understands, hey, I know what I'm talking about. This is why this is important. And then there's a lot of trust built in that relationship. So I think there's a level to it. And then I have people that like they don't even schedule KPI meetings with me. They're like, no, just go handle it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want anything to do with marketing. I know it's important. I'll pay the money for it, but I don't want to think about it. That's fine with me too. I'll go out and I'll handle it. I'll watch it and I'll be your silent fractional CMO, right? But yeah, I mean, we worked originally when we started, we were farming out SEO, subcontracting or referring out, which is most of what we did. We referred out to a very large SEO company that's global, Fortune 100 company, I believe, and extremely good at what they do. So I thought, and I would be asked by the client to sit in as a third party with them in this meeting to make sure that they're not just feeding, kind of bullshit answers. Excuse me. But I was sitting in these meetings and I was like, okay, hold on a second. Like I started asking questions. I was like, yeah, great. Impressions are up. How many people hit the website?
Right.
How many positions did we move on keywords? Like, is our rankings going up? Do we have keyword rankings for things that are not branded terms? No? Okay, then what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Why do I have a lawyer that's talking about like writing multiple blog articles and pages about wind turbine fires? How is that beneficial to a personal injury attorney?
Right.
Like let's actually write content and develop content that's going to be beneficial for their business, not just charging them to write these pages or copywriting or blogs or whatever it is for nonsense that they don't even want to rank for. I think there is an element where, as a business owner, you should absolutely be paying attention to what your marketing, agency or your marketing team, or whoever it is that you've got doing that. You have to pay attention. You have to learn some of it. But I think if you find a good agency partner in marketing, they will tell you the information you need to know. They will help educate you on why it's important. And the other thing is too, a good tell, what I've found over a good agency is that if every month is green, then they're not a good agency and they're curating the content, because not every month do you have jumps in keywords. Not every month do you have, better impression share month over month. Like there are going to be down months. So if
Right.
you don't see red on those KPI reports, that's something to kind of watch out for.
Yeah. You know, for my clients, one of my basic goals was like, I just want you to be knowledgeable enough so you can have the BS filter when someone's talking to you
Yes.
about marketing. Like, okay, well that is because there's a lot of that,
Yep.
so I don't need to know everything about marketing. Okay. I just need to know what's coming in and I can filter it properly. And I can
Yep.
get rid of them. I can shut it down. I can say, okay, I got to get some more. I got to talk to some other people, whatever, if you're not getting that delivered, because as the entrepreneur, as you're the business owner, you have your gut. Okay. And you'll fight your gut feeling on a person or a company because you don't know, but your
Yeah.
gut does know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to encourage you to listen to your gut. It's never wrong. Like every
Yeah.
time you don't do it, you end up you put 15 grand into something you don't get anything for, right? So I've been there. Like
Yep.
I knew, like I'm telling them this is where my people are. They're telling me they are, and I'm going, but wait, but I didn't finalize. Go wait, I know who my customers are. They don't.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it's like that's where I messed up. I should have
Mm.
said, yeah, we're not going to do this. I'll go talk to some other people who like someone like you. Okay,
Yeah.
where's my people, right? Like
Yeah.
you told me, and we'll understand. Oh, they're on Google because they're consumers.
Yeah.
They're looking for stuff, so
Yeah.
whether that's what I got to do. So yeah, it's really fascinating to the educational level. You said you got some people who are like so immersed in it and they want to know a lot. That's great. Okay, I would say in general, most business owners, trades, whatever, they're not interested in getting to that kind of level.
Yeah.
Well, we want something that works. We want the simple understanding. We want to understand the ROI. Is it being
Hmm.
tracked? And you had a good point. Does it go up and down? It better. Okay, because that's life. Does my business go up and down? Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yep.
not a hockey stick. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not that's not my business. So like you just think about that and cross it over to other things, right? So no one is 100% all the time, man. Like we work out a lot, right? You can't do your hardest workout every day. It
Right.
doesn't work, right? You're going to crash. Okay, you're
Right.
going to be ineffective. You'll hit the PR and it's going to be downhill from there. So it's just a way to kind of wrap all that together in the business aspect of this when you're searching out for the right person to run a marketing campaign, you
Yeah.
know. Um, So just some kind of final thoughts, we'll kind of put a bow on this, working in that local realm. Okay. That's kind of your sweet spot, right? Working with the trades and service, home
Yep.
service businesses in the local realm. So give us kind of some parting thoughts, some final takeaways, look fors, that kind of stuff. And actually, we'll talk about how to get in touch with you. But you aren't restricted to Detroit, right? When you say
No.
local, just to clarify, people like, no, you're local or they're
Yeah,
local. You're local in
exactly.
Ohio and Cleveland, and you're local, right? So it's not
Yep.
like, because people sometimes think I'm not in Detroit, you know. So
Yeah, exactly.
this is not a
Yeah.
local podcast.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, our agency, I mean, we've got partners and employees all across the country. I've got clients in Washington and I've got clients in Florida. So we go completely nationwide. Yes, the local aspect is I help you market your business to your local service area. Um, yeah, I would say that again, finding a good marketing partner, it's not easy. I would say definitely shop around. First you need to establish what you're willing to spend on marketing, and then find someone that can provide a portfolio with results that they've gotten from a similar or in your industry. So for us, every time we finish an intake meeting, I send our portfolio deck over. It has some of three actual case studies in it about people that we worked with, where they started at, where they went to, and the results they saw from it as kind of a credibility builder. Um, I would say that there's a lot of it's hard because there are a lot of marketing charlatans out there, and they
Mhm.
use a lot of buzzwords, things that you as a business owner, if you're not familiar with marketing terms, you're gonna be like, oh man, this guy really knows his stuff. But marketers are definitely good at sales, so keep an eye out for that. But a good marketer will be able to absolutely prove and show his value and what he can do ahead of the contract being signed. And then just, make sure that you work with a company that's going to let you own all of your stuff. Again, you don't want your marketing agency holding your accounts or your media or your copy or anything hostage. You want to have absolute ownership of everything. Um, yeah, and again, find someone that's good with your industry.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways. Really, like you said, show me, show me proof. Give
Yep.
me a third person validation, man. Show me companies. Show me a couple of things you've done. It's not all the same. Marketing is marketing. No, it's not. Right? It's like it needs to be tailored to your specific industry.
Hmm.
At the least, right? Like
Yep.
you have a pretty extensive process taking them through for ICP and everything else, and that's really important too. But and one other thing I'll just add too is we talked about it during the show here, but if you don't know your ideal client, that's your homework today. Go figure there's worksheets. I mean, I have multiple page worksheets I take people through. Like you need to go really define that. It'll change your business. You know what it'll do?
Yeah.
It'll bring joy back to your business.
Yep.
Because you know what an ideal client is, right? It's people you actually want to do work for.
Exactly.
Okay, not just anyone who's got a fistful of dollars. Okay, and that's a game changer. I always hope it was a time when I work in a very affluent area, right? So I'm doing this high end water feature. Gonna give the guy the bid. He's some big attorney or whatever, and then he sends me the contract signed with a check, deposit, 50%. I'm looking, I'm like, he scratched stuff out of my contract. He changed the number. What is that? I folded it up, put the check in it, took the whole envelope and put it in another envelope, sent it back to him. Okay. And he calls me, he goes, what's this? I go, yeah, I'm not working for you. He goes, well, what do you mean? I go, you can't change my contract. You know how complicated this job is? And if you're doing that now, I can only imagine when we get halfway
Yeah.
through. Okay.
Yeah.
So and then he's this, okay, well, you have a great day. I hung up. And I was telling you, Joel, it's one of those times in your business where you lean back and you smile and go, I could do that. I
Yeah.
just sent a guy a $20,000 check back and said,
Yeah.
keep your money. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I understand the aggravation for that money would not be worth it. My
Yeah.
wife would be hating on me because I become home miserable for the whole time I'm doing that work. Right. I'm like, there's no money worth that. And when
Yeah.
you get that, and I've done it with my clients, they've all had that experience. And I go, just tell me how you feel now. And like, you're right, too. That's the greatest feeling in the world. It's like
What a
when you
freeing
could,
moment. Yeah.
when you could just say no to like, and not, $100. I mean, like the, you know, 5 and 6 figure stuff.
Yeah.
It's like that's a cool thing, but that's because you understand deeply who you serve.
Yep.
And when you know that, man, you're making really good decisions.
Yep.
And you're
Yeah.
just
It's a great freeing moment for you individually as a business owner, but then also it's this reassurance that as a business owner, entrepreneur, that like, okay, I have the ability to do that. Like that is such a good feeling to
yeah,
sit back, like you said, and to be like, man, I have the ability to say no to a contract like that. Like I'm not begging for scraps or like anything that I can get. And there's a time and place for that. Like in
oh
every
yeah,
business, there is a time
yep.
and place where you kind of have to lick dirt for a while. But when you get to that point, like I would really hope like any of your listeners that, at the trades, at any other business that is listening, like when you get to experience that, like that is success.
I'm telling you, and and plan for it. Like we talked about in the beginning about the exit strategy. Go to the end. Okay, so you have a plan to get there to serve those people. Okay, like because one quick exercise I just tell people, I go, well, tell me about your favorite customer of all time. And they'll just say this, they're great. And they did this, and they fed my guys and this, and they even gave everyone a tip, did this. I go, well, what would it be like if all your customers like that? Oh, it'd be amazing. Okay, that's what we'll do. Okay, like you can do that. You can do. No, you're going to do that, but yeah, you can do it. Like
Yeah.
you're always going to get the bad apple here and there, but like if you don't know what you're looking for, how are you going to find it?
Yeah.
Right? And then again, and then just tie it back into marketing. How do you market to those people?
Yeah.
That's all. They're listening for completely different things. They want to see completely different things. Okay, than what the someone who had doing the job for half. That's a different, like you said earlier. $1,500 minimum. Come on, well that you're 40,000 a year. They can't even entertain it. They're not looking for that,
Yeah.
right? So you gotta understand what your client's looking for from a marketing standpoint. What are the triggers that makes them say, "Oh, right"? It's really cool. I'm fascinated by the whole thing. Glad I don't do it. Okay. I'm glad there's pros out there, but I mean, but I love the whole thing of it. You know what I mean? But there's a lot to it. Like you said, there's split testing. There's all this different stuff that the quality marketers are going to do, and that's part of the long game, right? But that's how you get effective. And I think
Yeah.
you've got all those pieces together. So it's really been great having you on, Joel, because I do
Yeah.
not have a lot of marketers on my show
Okay.
for, for reasons that
All
I
right. Well,
shared already.
hopefully I didn't disappoint. I
No,
passed the
dude, you
test here.
killed it. No, you killed it. This was fantastic. I know it was a lot of value. So you guys, when you're listening to this stuff, like this is the guy you talk to. Okay, these are things you're looking for. You want to put in. You want your marketing to be effective. I know that's a captain obvious, but really, there's a difference. Okay, there's like marketing, and then there's effective marketing, and then there's like targeted, spectacularly effective marketing. Okay. And that's what we talked about here today for an hour,
Yeah.
and it's been awesome. So, how do people get in touch with you, follow you, all that good stuff?
Yeah. ASP Branding is our company name. So you can go to aspbranding.com. If you want, we do free intake meetings. So if anybody is interested or they have questions about marketing, like I'm happy to just absolutely be a resource. So fill out the contact form on our website. You'll get in touch with me personally, and I'll actually do your intake meeting and work with you. And kind of at the very least, with every meeting that we do, I always want you to walk out with feeling like there was some value added to your business, whether you use us or not. So you'll get that inside of that intake meeting. Atomic Souls Productions is kind of our handle across social media. So we have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel that I'm currently in the process of building out top 100 FAQs for everything Google Ads. So if you have questions or interested in learning more about Google Ads, you can go see that video series as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Joel, thank you for the time today. This has just been awesome. I really enjoyed it. It was a great conversation. And
Yeah.
man, we'll just keep moving forward and keep doing what you do, man. I love it. And
Yeah.
for
Thanks so much, Richard. I
you
appreciate
bet.
it, man. I had a blast today, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Sharpen the Spear podcast. If today's episode helped you think sharper, act smarter, or see new profit potential, do me a favor. Share it with a fellow home service owner and leave a quick review. Ready to find the profit hiding in your business? Head to sharpenthespearcoaching.com and book your free profit discovery call today. And until next time, keep sharpening.